Good morning and welcome to Maximo Bite Size, a podcast on the functionality of Maximo Manage. Today is the 8th episode in the series on asset management, and we will be discussing asset subassemblies and spare parts. The Assets application has a Spare Parts tab with two table windows. The subassembly records are assets in the asset hierarchy. They are entered using the New Row button or by using the Apply Item Assembly Structure action. The subassembly assets normally exist in the same location as the parent asset, and they may move together if the Maintain Hierarchy field is checked. A subassembly asset may exist at a different location to the parent asset. The asset hierarchy can be several levels deep, and you can either move to the subassembly asset or back to its parent from the Details menu action on those fields. The Open Drill Down action is used to see the whole hierarchy together and navigate to the chosen asset. Subassemblies can be either rotating or non-rotating assets, but when created by applying an item assembly structure, they always reference a rotating item. Otherwise, they would be created in the spare parts table. Spare parts are non-rotating items that you find in the Item Master application. They cannot be tool items. You can add spare parts to assets, but not to locations. You add spare parts to an asset to make it easier for planners and engineers to select the right spare part when they need to plan work. For example, in the Work Order Tracking application, in the Plans Materials tab, the button Select Asset Spare Parts will show the spare parts of the work order's primary asset. The same button also exists on the Actuals Materials tab. There are multiple ways spare parts can be added to an asset. In the Assets application and Spare Parts tab, the New Row button can be used to add an active non-rotating item to the spare parts table. The Select Spare Parts button next to it is used to select spare parts from other assets or a specific asset. There could be duplicates in this set, so be careful when selecting multiple spare parts not to create duplicates unless that is your intention. Spare parts can be added if you have associated the asset with an asset template and the asset template has spare parts. Spare parts can also be added by using the Apply Item Assembly Structure action if the asset references a rotating item and an item assembly structure has been created for this item. This is a good way of creating an asset hierarchy with the spare parts for each component or the asset in the assembly. In the Item Master application, the Add as Spare Part attribute will add the item into the Assets Spare Part table if the field is checked and the item is being issued to the asset. The Spare Parts table has a couple of fields worth explaining. The quantity is used to indicate the number of the spare part items normally found on the asset. The issued quantity records the number of the item issued to the asset over time. This can be limited to a certain quantity by setting the maximum quantity issued field on the Item Master record. For example, a brand of software issued to a PC should not exceed a quantity of 1. There is also a Remarks field with long description on the spare parts table. The action to issue items from Storeroom was added to the Assets application because in some industries, particularly in the IT industry, activity is performed in the context of an asset, a PC, laptop or server. The IT technician who is installing software wants to be able to issue items from a software storeroom while they are setting up the PC, laptop or server, rather than traversing back and forth between applications. You need to have storeroom authorization set up in the user's security group for this action. Another example where this action might be used is with transportation assets and the issue of fuel. The amount of fuel being issued can increment a meter if both the item an asset reference the same metered material usage. You cannot issue an item to multiple assets. The action is not available from the List tab of the Assets application. However, in the Inventory application, there is an action to do this called Issue Current Item to Multiple Assets. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode when we will review location and asset associations. The music is called Busy City from the group called Track Tribe. Please check them out on tracktribe.com, all one word. Until another time, goodbye.